Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast. This is your escape for real, unscripted conversations about sports, hobbies, life, and storytelling. No scripts, no forced takes, just Man Cave talk. Now, here's your host, Dan Kasper.
Local Sports Roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. Brandon, where are we going to lead things off first?
We can go so many different places. Tell you what, let's start with hockey.
Hockey.
We had hockey regional finals, most of them last night. Some still coming tonight. But on the boys' end in Division I, we had we had all the in this Division I section. We had all of the higher seeds advance, but they kind of had to work for it. Hudson knocking off Tomahawk. Obviously, early in the week, Tomahawk knocked off Eau Claire North. Eau Claire Memorial falling up in Superior, and that was a back-and-forth game. Chippewa Falls jumped out to the early lead on Stevens Point, but Stevens Point ultimately the 7-3 win, and then Wausau West needing overtime before they defeated New Richmond, the 10 seed. So those are your final four. Will be Superior at Hudson and Stevens Point at Wausau West. So
kind of interesting how geography-wise, too, right?
Yeah.
Hudson, Superior, obviously familiar with a lot of league-wise, and then obviously Stevens Point.
That's two Wisconsin Valley schools there. Yep. The other one, but and then that game is set for a week from tonight at Hobbs. So, we're getting down to it. I mean, like I said, those are all the higher seeds, but it was not easy for any of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that just kind of speaks to the depth you're going to see and continue to see in the sectional with these four teams. I mean, Hudson's the top seed, but Superior can put the puck in the net, and Stevens Point and Wausau West. I mean, you're always a little leery when you're playing a third matchup of the year, when you're playing you're playing a team you've already played twice.
Yeah.
Then you go to Division II where you got Rice Lake. They picked up a 4-0 win against WF the Frederick Co-op. There's letters with it, but I always seem to get them wrong. So, they're going to play top seed Amery, who won I believe they won the middle border in the regular season. So, and then in a different section as well, you had a couple of Big River schools advance with Menominee picking up the 6-3 win over Black River Falls, and they will take on River Falls, who knocked off West Salem. So, you're going to guaranteed to have a Big Rivers team in Division II in that sectional final, and they'll be taking on either Somerset or Baldwin Woodville. That'll be coming up a week from tomorrow. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're really getting down to it hockey-wise on the girls' end of things. Eau Claire area picked up a 7-1 win over the Cooley Region team to start the postseason, so they'll get another home game here coming up on Tuesday night. They'll be taking on Western Wisconsin after Western Wisconsin defeated Chippewa Falls Menominee 4-1. Other half, you got St. Croix Valley, who was the 1 seed, so they had to bye. And then taking on Hudson, who went on the road as the 5 seed, knocked out the 4 seed Black River Falls. So you got 4 Big Rivers teams left in that mix there. So, and that's coming up. I mean, a lot of those are, all those region or sectional semis are next Tuesday. Then the sectional finals are either next Friday or Saturday. It just depends on, who's doing what. But you also got boys swimming state tomorrow. I know you got some relays from Eau Claire and then also from Chippewa Falls Menominee. Or Chippewa Falls McDonald, that are going there for Division I, and then you'll have some Division II action in the mix as well. So, that's down in Waukesha. So they get going with that coming off sectionals last week. So that's the season kind of coming to an end there as well for boys swimming coming up. Tonight you have girls wrestling sectionals.
Okay.
Which one's in Ladysmith, and that's a lot of the teams from around here. A lot of them that were at the Eau Claire North Regional last Friday, but then you've also got one at DC Everest where teams like Stanley Boyd are going to be in action there. But then, we know who's going to stay for boys wrestling. Obviously, it's many, many, many people from this area. But the caveat with the change now this year is you also have the team sectionals coming up tomorrow, where I know for Division I for Marshfield you've got Menominee, who's a part of that mix. I know in Division III, you've got Cadott, who will be making the trip to Auburndale, and kind of a unique thing there where you got a 6-team tournament, and essentially the top team is going to be going on there. Basketball is wrapping up here. Girls basketball is kind of coming to the end of the regular season. Big Rivers, the big win last week for Rice Lake sets up Rice Lake and Hudson are tied atop the Big Rivers for girls. Hudson's got New Richmond. Rice Lake's got River Falls tonight. Obviously, if they both win, they get a share. If one wins and one loses, they get it all to themselves. Western Cloverbelt is, you had the first rounds of the Cloverbelt crossover last night. The Western Cloverbelt won 5 of the 6. But then you got coming up tomorrow night, you've got the first and second place matchups. You got Marshfield, Columbus, and McDonald. And then you got Regis and Neilsville, which I'm very curious about that one. Both these games are at Stanley Boyd, by the way, Stanley Boyd High School. But I'm very curious about that Neilsville-Regis matchup because obviously they're two great teams. Neilsville won the Eastern Cloverbelt, Regis won the West. But I'm curious how much either of those teams are actually going to show because that's a potential sectional semifinal matchup in Division IV as well. So, and they played earlier in the year. Regis won that matchup. So, I'm very curious about that. But I think regardless, it's going to be an excellent matchup. So, yeah, this is going to be the last night of the regular season, pretty much. Outside of tomorrow, a couple games for girls basketball. But then, yeah, we got the playoffs next week. And I know you guys kind of went through some of the brackets on Monday with Justice. So,
right.
On the boys' end, you got a little more than a week left. So, tonight you got the showdown at Eau Claire North between the Memorial North. Obviously, you don't need me to say that that's a big matchup, but otherwise you got Chippewa Falls playing at Menominee, you got Rice Lake playing at River Falls, and you got Hudson at New Richmond. Right now you got River Falls and Hudson tied atop the conference. So obviously those are two teams looking to just keep winning and let the other stuff take care of itself. In the Western Cloverbelt, it's a tie going into the final night of the regular season there with Regis and Fall Creek after Regis picked up the 2-point win over Fall Creek on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So another very simple scenario where Regis takes on Thorpe and Fall Creek takes on Elk Mound. Win gets both those teams a share. If one wins and the other loses, then they get it all themselves. But otherwise, you've got Stanley Boyd taking on McDowell and Bloomer taking on Cadott and the other matchups in the Western Cloverbelt. But Dunn St. Croix also kind of getting down to it here at the end of the year. You got Durand, who's got a couple game lead, so they can clinch the outright championship all themselves if they get a win over Spring Valley tonight. You got the Dairyland Conference as far as the boys go as well. You got Osceola Fairchild still up top there, and then in the small Dairyland you've got Cocker Fountain City. So we're getting down to it to the end of the regular season. This is at this point it just stuff comes so fast and furious. And then I know tomorrow in Eau Claire you've got the Big Rivers Conference Gymnastics Conference Tournament as well. So and then gymnastics sectionals are next week, and yeah, we're right there. I'm sure this time next week we'll be talking about what the big matchups for the regional semifinals for girls basketball. That'll be a week from today, and then regional finals would be that Saturday, and then we are off and running.
So and this is just kind of a general question. I don't know if it affects anything locally here. Did I see a headline when it comes to wrestling that they had to reseed?
There might have been some slight movements, but yeah, there was for the boys state meet, which they released those pairings on Sunday. They did announce that I think there was just some records that were maybe a little bit off.
Okay.
Due to I think there was something that was counted and it wasn't supposed to be, or vice versa.
Gotcha.
So there were some changes to them, but I don't think it was anything too significant. Like you didn't see a kid that was going from like being a 13 seed to like a 2 seed suddenly.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they so the WIA announced that, and they said, "Look, hey, we want interest of transparency. We want to make sure that this is we're saying, hey, we're going to redo this, and this is why."
Right.
Which you want to make sure obviously everything is counted correctly. So, but yeah, that was something that had come out a little bit earlier in the week. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's do really quick look at the college side of things here. Start off with UW Stout. They've got, they're going to be playing a little baseball down in Illinois, it looks like, this weekend, too. So that season's kicking off for them. Softball for UW Stout is going to be at St. Cloud in the Husky Dome over there. So women's basketball is going to be taking on UW Platteville. Men's basketball is going to be taking on Platteville as well. On the blue gold side of things, it's going to be a busy weekend here, too. We've got a big-time hockey game. Women's team taking on number 1 River Falls. You know that's always a good matchup there. That's going to be tomorrow afternoon. As we mentioned earlier, too, softball opening day for them against McAllister College over at the Sonotag. So opening day for them. Basketball, men's team's going to be on the road taking on UW Lacrosse. Women's team's going to be taking on lacrosse at the Sonintake Center as well. And I know swimming and diving, the WIAC championships, we're going on too. We got indoor track and fields going to be at UW Lacrosse. So
basically, it's all going on.
Yes, kind of got that mixture of wrapping up some of the winter sports and then the beginning of some of the spring sports.
The indoor season, yeah.
Yep, exactly. So, all right, let's take a quick break. That's your local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center.